HFY book, One Step Further, to the Edge of Discovery. Humanity wasn't supposed to be here, not this far out, not this close to the unknown. The Andromeda Void, an expanse of space where stars faded into a yawning chasm of black nothingness, had long been declared off limits. Even the ancient species of the Galactic Accord, races that had mastered wormhole technology and sculpted planets to their will, warned against approaching it. It's not just empty, they said, it's wrong. And yet, humans, young, brash, and unrelentingly curious, had come anyway. Chapter 1, the ship named Vanguard. The Vanguard wasn't the most advanced ship in the galaxy, but it was human ingenuity made manifest. It was a hybrid of Earth's cutting-edge technology and salvaged alien tech from old wars, held together by stubborn engineering and the raw willpower of its crew. At its helm stood Captain Elena Cross, a woman who embodied humanity's relentless drive to push boundaries. Her sharp eyes scanned the holographic star map, now dominated by the swirling, chaotic edge of the Andromeda Void. "We're not stopping," she said, her voice calm but firm. Her crew exchanged glances. They had signed up for this mission knowing the risks, but standing on the precipice of the void brought a new kind of fear. "Captain," said Marcus Rowe, the ship's xenologist, "this isn't just an unexplored region of space, the void is something else. Even the precursors avoided it. We don't know what's out there." Elena turned to him, her expression unyielding. "Exactly, and that's why we're going." Chapter 2, a signal in the dark. Days passed as the Vanguard crept toward the void. The stars thinned, their light dimming as though swallowed by an invisible force. Instruments flickered with false readings, and strange harmonics hummed through the ship's systems. Then it happened. "Captain," shouted Ensign Priya Jao, her voice tinged with excitement and fear, "we're picking up a signal." The bridge fell silent. "From where?" Elena asked, leaning over Priya's console. "It's from inside the void." The signal was faint, almost drowned out by static, but unmistakably artificial, a series of repeating tones and bursts, eerily similar to early human radio transmissions. "It's impossible," Marcus whispered. "Nothing alive could survive in there, the energy fields alone would." "But someone's trying," Elena cut in, "and we're going to find out who." Chapter 3, Into the Abyss. Crossing into the void was unlike anything the crew had ever experienced. The Vanguard shuddered as its shields fought against the strange, chaotic energy surrounding them. The stars disappeared entirely, replaced by an oppressive, ink-black emptiness that seemed to press against the ship. "Keep it together," Elena ordered as the hull groaned ominously. Inside the void, time itself seemed unstable. Hours stretched into days, or perhaps minutes. It was impossible to tell. The signal grew stronger, leading them deeper into the unknown. Then they saw it, a derelict station, floating in the void like a ghost. Its design was ancient, unlike anything in the Galactic Accord's records, but somehow familiar. "It looks human," Priya murmured, her voice barely above a whisper. Chapter 4, The Forgotten Legacy. Boarding the station was a risk, but Elena didn't hesitate. The airlock creaked open, revealing a labyrinth of dimly lit corridors. The walls were inscribed with strange symbols, part alien, part eerily similar to Earth's earliest writing systems. "Captain," Marcus said, examining a panel of glyphs, "this station predates humanity's spacefaring era by millennia. How is this possible?" As they ventured deeper, the crew found evidence of an ancient civilization, artifacts, tools, and star charts that suggested the station's inhabitants had been explorers like them. Then they found the central chamber. A massive, crystalline structure dominated the room, pulsating faintly with light. Embedded within it was a humanoid figure, its features strikingly human, yet subtly alien. "It's us," Priya breathed. Chapter 5, The Truth of the Void. The figure wasn't dead. As the crystal pulsed, it opened its eyes, and the room filled with a resonant voice, not spoken, but felt. "You have come further than we did." The crew froze, their minds flooded with images. An ancient human civilization, one that had existed long before Earth's recorded history. They had reached for the stars, just as their descendants would, but had been drawn to the void and trapped by its strange physics. "We called ourselves the Forerunners," the voice continued. "We were humanity's first explorers, and we reached the edge of discovery, but we underestimated the void. It is alive, a force of creation and destruction. It consumed us." Elena stepped forward. "Why send the signal? Why lead us here?" "To warn you," the Forerunner said, "and to give you the chance we never had. You must go further, find the source of the void. Only then can you understand and survive." Chapter 6, One Step Further. Returning to the Vanguard, the crew debated their next move. They had the coordinates the Forerunner had given them, a point deep within the void where its strange energies originated. "It's suicide," Marcus argued. "We've already pushed the ship beyond its limits. If we go further, we might not come back." "And if we don't," Elena countered, "the void will keep growing, swallowing everything. We can't turn back now." One by one, the crew nodded. The Vanguard pressed onward, its hull straining against the void's forces. The journey was unlike anything they'd experienced. Time fracturing, reality bending, the ship's systems failed one by one, and yet they continued, driven by the Forerunner's words and their own indomitable spirit. Finally, they reached the heart of the void. Chapter 7, The Edge of Discovery. Chapter 11, Echoes Beyond the Gate. The gateway shimmered with unstable energy, its surface rippling like liquid starlight. Beyond it lay a galaxy untouched by any known civilization, a cradle of untapped resources, unimagined dangers, and, perhaps, truths about the void's origin. As the Vanguard approached the gateway, Captain Elena Cross gathered her crew for one final briefing before crossing through. "We're not just explorers anymore," she began, her voice steady but heavy with responsibility. "We're ambassadors for humanity and guardians of what we've unlocked. Whatever's on the other side, we face it together." The first steps. Crossing the gateway was a jarring experience. Reality seemed to fold and stretch, pulling the ship into an endless tunnel of light. When they emerged, the crew gasped in unison. The new galaxy was unlike anything they had imagined. Massive, crystalline structures floated in the void, radiating energy that seemed to resonate with the Vanguard systems. The stars here burned with unfamiliar colors, casting hues of teal and gold across vast nebulae. This isn't natural," Marcus said, scanning the environment. "This galaxy was engineered." Kara's hands danced over her console. "Captain, those crystalline structures are emitting signals. They're like beacons." Elena nodded. "Let's see who's calling." The architects. The Vanguard followed the beacon signals to a colossal space station, its design impossibly intricate, towering spires interlocked with glowing conduits, and the station pulsed with a rhythm that felt alive. As they docked, a holographic figure materialized on their screens. It was humanoid but faceless, its form shimmering with light. "Welcome, travelers," it said in a melodic, layered voice. "You have reached the domain of the architects, the creators of this galaxy and custodians of the void's power." The crew exchanged stunned glances. "The architects," Marcus whispered, "they're more than forerunners, they might be the originators of everything we've discovered." The hologram continued, "You have restored the lattice and opened the gateway, an act not attempted for Rians, but your journey has disrupted the balance. The void must remain contained, or it will consume all." A new mission. The architects explained that the void was not merely a destructive force, it was a primordial entity, an ancient consciousness that thrived on chaos and entropy. The lattice had been built as a prison to contain it, but the machine's activation risked breaking the containment. "You must stabilize the lattice across the network," the hologram said, "but beware, the Eclipsed and others will seek to exploit this power for their own ends." Elena felt the weight of the mission pressing down on her. "And if we fail? Then the void will unravel not just this galaxy, but all existence." The Eclipsed strike back. Before the Vanguard could begin its mission, an alert sounded. Ships emerged from the shadows of the new galaxy, their hulls twisted and brimming with void energy. It was the Eclipsed, led by Salates, who had tracked them through the gateway. "Did you think we would let you control the lattice?" Salates' voice boomed over the calms. "This galaxy will be ours." The battle that ensued was unlike any the Vanguard had faced. The Eclipsed ships moved with unnatural speed, their weapons tearing through space with precision. "Shields at 40%, Priya called out, her fingers flying over her console. Kara's voice crackled over the intercom. "I've got a trick up my sleeve, Captain, redirecting power to the new energy signature from the gateway." The Vanguard unleashed a pulse of energy, destabilizing the eclipsed ships and forcing them into retreat. The path forward. With the eclipsed temporarily repelled, the Vanguard began its journey to activate and stabilize the remaining lattice nodes scattered across the galaxy. Each node was a challenge, a puzzle to solve, a battle to win, or an ancient mystery to decipher. The crew discovered more about the architects and the void, piecing together the history of a cosmic war fought across millennia. They found allies in unexpected places, intelligent species who had evolved in isolation, remnants of the architects' creations, and even defectors from the eclipsed. The final revelation. As they approached the last lattice node, the crew uncovered a startling truth. The void wasn't merely a threat, it was a reflection of consciousness itself, a mirror of every fear, doubt, and ambition across the universe. The void isn't just alive, Marcus said, staring at the data, it's us, it's every sentient being's darker nature given form. To fully stabilize the lattice, the crew realized, they would need to confront their own fears and make a sacrifice that no species had been willing to make before. Epilogue, to the edge of everything. The Vanguard's journey wasn't just about exploration, it was about understanding. Humanity's greatest strength had always been its ability to face the unknown, to adapt, and to overcome. As the lattice stabilized and the void's power was contained, the gateway expanded, linking galaxies and opening paths to infinite possibilities. Elena stood on the bridge, watching the stars of the new galaxy flicker to life. One step further, she said softly, a smile touching her lips, and still so much more to discover. Humanity had changed the galaxy, but more importantly, it had changed itself. The galaxy awaits, and humanity is ready to take the next step, to the edge of everything. Chapter 8, A Universe Changed. The transformation of the void sent shockwaves across the galaxy. News of humanity's success reached the Galactic Accord, sparking disbelief, awe, and fear. The ancient civilizations, who had long avoided the void, now turned their eyes toward the humans who dared to reshape it. On Earth, humanity celebrated, but the crew of the Vanguard knew the real work was just beginning. The aftermath. Back on the Vanguard, Captain Elena Cross and her team analyzed the data they'd gathered from the heart of the void. What they had uncovered wasn't just a new frontier, it was a revelation. This machine, Drive, Marcus Rowe explained during a briefing, isn't just a tool for harnessing the void, it's a blueprint for building something bigger. The Forerunners were trying to create a network, gateways across the galaxy, maybe even between galaxies. They called it the Lattice. Elena leaned back in her chair, considering the implications. So, if we finish what they started, we could open up the entire universe. Or destroy it, Marcus countered. Elena smirked, good thing we're careful. Rising tensions. The Galactic Accord, a coalition of the galaxy's most advanced species, didn't share humanity's optimism. At a hastily convened summit, the Accord's most influential leaders debated how to handle the human threat. They defied every warning, growled Savan, a reptilian warlord. They tampered with forces they didn't understand, and now they wield technology that even we don't comprehend. They've proven their ingenuity, countered Ambassador Tyvalis, a slender, silver-skinned envoy from the Stellan Collective. Perhaps it's time we stopped underestimating them and started working with them. But the Accord couldn't reach a consensus. While some viewed humanity as reckless interlopers, others saw them as allies with untapped potential. Meanwhile, Elena and her crew prepared to take their next steps, unaware that spies and warships were being dispatched to monitor their every move. Chapter 9, The Lattice Awakens. The Vanguard returned to the transformed void, now teeming with newly forming stars and planets. At its center, the ancient machine pulsed with energy, awaiting the next phase of activation. But as the crew approached, they discovered they weren't alone. A massive alien vessel loomed in the distance, its hull bristling with weaponry. The ship was of precursor origin, but it had been heavily modified by an unknown force. "It's scanning us," Priya reported. "Raise shields," Elena ordered. Before the Vanguard could react further, the alien ship hailed them. A distorted voice crackled through the comms. "Humans, you've meddled where you don't belong. The void is ours to control." Marcus's eyes widened. "That's impossible. The Forerunners were wiped out." "Not all of them," the voice replied. The Forerunners return. The alien vessel was crewed by the descendants of the Forerunners, those who had escaped the Void's collapse but had been corrupted by its energies. They called themselves the Eclipsed, a shadow of their former selves. "We spent eons trying to escape the Void's influence," said their leader, Salates, a gaunt figure with glowing eyes and cracked, crystalline skin. "Now you dare to finish what we started? You don't understand the cost." Elena stepped forward. "Then help us. Together, we can stabilize the lattice and use it to rebuild." Salates shook his head. "You cannot rebuild what was meant to be forgotten. If you persist, we will stop you, no matter the cost." Chapter 10, A Fight for the Future. The confrontation escalated into a battle. The Eclipsed ship, powered by void energy, unleashed devastating attacks, forcing the Vanguard to rely on every ounce of human ingenuity. "Target their propulsion system," Elena barked. Kara, the ship's engineer, scrambled to reroute power to the weapon systems. "We're barely holding together here, Captain." Despite the odds, the Vanguard managed to disable the Eclipsed ship, but not before Salates activated a failsafe. A pulse of void energy erupted from his ship, destabilizing the lattice machine. "We have to shut it down," Marcus shouted. "No," Elena said, her eyes locked on the collapsing machine. "We stabilize it, one step further, remember?" The leap. Elena and her crew worked frantically, using everything they had learned from the Forerunner archives. As the lattice threatened to implode, they channeled its energy through the void, creating a new gateway. The machine roared to life, stabilizing the surrounding space. The Eclipsed vessel, crippled but still operational, retreated into the shadows. As the gateway opened, the crew stared in awe. On the other side lay an entirely new galaxy, teeming with vibrant light and alien worlds. "We did it," Priya whispered. Elena smiled, exhaustion and triumph etched into her face. "One step further, and now, to the edge of discovery." Epilogue, A New Beginning. The activation of the lattice changed everything. The gateway became a symbol of humanity's determination, a bridge to uncharted realms. But it also sparked a new era of conflict. The Eclipsed was still out there, and the Galactic Accord was watching closely, wary of humanity's growing power. For Elena and her crew, the journey was far from over. They had crossed the void, awakened the lattice, and glimpsed the edge of discovery. Now, they would face the challenges of what lay beyond it, together. The story of the Vanguard is just beginning. Humanity has taken one step further, but the universe still holds secrets, dangers, and wonders that no one could have imagined.